We are live. Greetings from Somerville, everybody. I am your host, Michael Somerville, and this is an exciting one. We got two guests. One of which won't speak, I assume. June. No, June is our lovely guest puppy, dog. Not even a puppy, huh?
She is 9.
9. Oh my goodness.
That's
about
a senior citizen.
That's what I get. Well, my guest is Super Mike. Can I say Super Mike? Is that the right way?
Yeah, you can call me Super
All
Mike.
right,
Generally, I fall more towards like the self-loathing side of town, but we can go with that for now.
Mike is the super of the building I have lived in for 15 years.
Wow.
That's unbelievable, right?
Yeah, that's almost as long as I've been here.
Is that true?
Yeah, I got here 17 years ago.
Oh my God! So you've seen it. We've been through it together.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my God! Yeah. Well, and I'm so thrilled that you're on today because I didn't know if you were going to be up for it because I thought it would be funny to have a New York City apartment super on the show because I try to do interesting, innovative people from my life. And I ran out of those, so I thought I'd ask you.
I get it, man. Generally, supers aren't looked upon as interesting or innovative, so,
It's far from true. In the 15 years that we've known each other, man, we've been through a lot. This building has been interesting. We've had a lot of characters.
Yeah,
But tell us, for our listeners, man, where are you from? How'd you get here? What brought you to this point that you are working here in New York City?
Well, keeping the life story concise, I was born in Philly. I grew up for about
Eagles fan?
I don't root against them.
Oh, right.
I'm a cursed Jets fan.
Oh, God.
But I don't root against any Philly or Boston teams because I have roots in both cities. So I try and stay neutral, which is difficult. I'm actually a Red Sox fan and a Jets fan.
Okay, tough thing to be. Well, Red Sox fans, fun to be.
And
but
I still, sorry.
You gonna curse again?
No. I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna try not to do what people do at Fenway.
But living in New York City, do you have to hide your Boston Red Sox fanhood?
Yeah, I gotta keep that under wraps.
I would think,
I totally do. One of my super gigs as a part-time super down the block a while back, I used to have to go into the building where Giselle lived.
Oh my! And she was on our block, correct?
She was one block over.
Yeah, okay. Giselle Bundchen.
And, being the Tom Brady significant other, there was a couple of Tom Brady sightings.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, there was a actual Tom Brady in the flesh sighting.
I don't think. Do you remember this? You and I were out front of our building once, and she went by on a bicycle. And I am one of those people who are famous for not knowing or recognizing anyone famous. Like I just don't. And she biked by, and I go, "Wow, that was a really." I think she even waved or something at you, and I said, "That's a pretty girl." No, she. I said, "That's a pretty girl." Like, and you're like, "Yeah, that's Giselle Bundchen." I remember being like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know that." Like, I was like, "Man, we have some."
Well, she unfortunately moved, but
she didn't date us, did she?
She did not.
Damn.
We got no love from Giselle.
I don't know what we were doing wrong. But also, Julianne Moore could not be a more friendly neighbor, right?
She is very nice, seemingly very down to earth
in the neighborhood, and waves when she takes out her trash. The whole thing.
Yeah, no, she's good, salt of the earth type of people. She doesn't seem to have much of an attitude about being famous or anything.
Not at all. Academy Award winner.
We like having her around.
I have not won any Academy Awards.
Nor have I. My ex-wife won an Emmy.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
For writing for daytime talk TV. I think it was for the Tyra Banks show.
That counts.
Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah, she's right up on the 5th floor.
Is that in our building?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So there is an Emmy winner in the building?
There's an Emmy winner in 5D.
Nicely. So bring us here then. So born in Philly.
Yeah.
And
lived in Connecticut, then moved to New York, was kind of back and forth between New York and Connecticut for a while, got banished to boarding school up in Massachusetts for my sophomore and junior years.
High school.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the
troublemaker? Were you
I was
a
a troublemaker. Yeah, I was a little bit of a juvenile delinquent.
Is that true?
I was.
I didn't see that. My goodness.
I was making all kinds of mess. But the thing that finally cracked my mom was I was writing graffiti on the 1 train in the tunnel between 137th and 145th, and I got grabbed by the transit cops, and she had to come up to like 145th and St. Nicholas Avenue to get me out of the precinct, and then shortly thereafter I was told that I was going to be sent off the pitch, as it were.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So then they sent me to boarding school, and that was like a convention of screw-ups.
Wow, for junior, senior year high school.
It was sophomore and junior. I got in a bit of trouble up there, as you could sort of surmise.
You were on that path.
I managed to make it through my junior year, but I ended up graduating from Cambridge Ringe, up to the Boston area.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and what
alma mater of Matt Damon.
Is that true?
I think so.
I love it.
Patrick Ewing was a classmate.
A classmate of yours?
Yeah.
One of my favorites all time. I grew up a Georgetown fan.
You know, he was taller than all of us.
So how did you eventually you became good at stuff?
You mean
fixing things and, the old Rube Goldberg, putting stuff together. How did you get that skill in life?
I was fortunate enough to come to this job in a very sort of circuitous and weird way. I was in an acting program in the early 90s. And it was a method acting program, and one of the aspects of that is learning how to come alive emotionally. So you're dredging up all this traumatic stuff from your childhood to bring to bear in your scenes and whatnot. So then we all had to go to therapy because of that. So after the class ended, I was in therapy for 6 or 7 years, and one day the shrink says, "Hey, remember Tim from your acting class? He's moving to California. I thought his job might be something you'd be interested in." And Tim was one of my classmates who had landed here, and the shrink 7 years down the line was somehow just thought that it might be a good fit and
to be a super.
Yeah, so I came over here, I walked around, I was like, okay, let's check it out, free rent, that sounds good. I went and met the landlord, and he was like, okay, I'm comfortable with you, are you interested? Yes, let's do this. So I didn't actually know how to fix much when I got here, and I explained that to him, and I just so there were some bumps, I called Con Ed when I smelled gas, and they came in and they looked at my stove and they're like, yeah, this is not it's not code compliant, we're turning off your gas. And I found out, that was a no-no. You're just supposed to call your plumber and he comes over and fixes it. But if Con Ed sees a violation, they just turn everything off.
Everything is shut down.
And you don't have gas for months. So the appointment to get my gas turned back on was September 12th, 2001. So clearly that didn't happen. So I didn't have gas for 6 months.
Kind of a busy day, yeah.
Yeah, it was a busy day for everybody in New York City, and so anyway, that was part of my learning on the job.
So now I'm a guy who can't even change a light bulb, though. But so I know when you come in, whenever I have something wrong, I call you or text you, and you come, and it's it's a whirlwind. But you didn't know how to do stuff in general.
I think I had a handyman lurking within me somewhere.
I would think, right?
Yeah.
Because this is something I was gonna say. If I ever saw a job, I would never show up for this job and be like, I'll figure it out. I can't. The building would just fall down. It would be. So I think you have to have that instinct. My dad's like that. My dad can just figure something out. He'll look at it and kind of calculate the way it works and then do it. Yeah,
I can do that pretty well. I'm a pretty good bike mechanic. I can do okay with plumbing and stuff like that. I'm horrible with finished grade work on drywall and stuff like that. I just get bored. I'm like, okay, there's no more holes by.
Right. See, it's done. It's done.
What about all that lumpy compound? I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just you won't notice it after a couple days.
Now let's get to the fun stuff.
All right.
And I don't know what you're allowed to speak about.
I'll bring the dish, man.
Over the years, we have had some characters in this building. We've had some people. I mean, yeah. You tell me, what am I allowed to ask? Because I know
I'm gonna just say no filter. Let's just go for it, man.
What has been your biggest headache? Who has been your biggest headache? And we don't have to mention names if you don't want to, but I'm just...
Yeah, I'm probably gonna let the protagonist remain anonymous and just describe.
Yeah, general speak. And for our listeners, let me just say I've lived here, as we said, 15 years, and I've been fortunate. I'm the quiet side of the building, kind of no real issues in terms of my direct, around me. Not much in terms of noise or problematic neighbors, but I have been privy to the fact that we've had some characters, and Mike has had to deal with them. So is there a number one that you would point out? The worst one?
Man, it's tough to pick a top. There's like a few that are competing for the top slot.
Well, let's do top 3 then.
Let's say, one point there was a tenant who still lives here who was going through a bit of a bad patch, and he wasn't paying his rent, and he, was pretty good at gaming the system so that when the landlord would take him to court, he'd pay just the required amount and all this. And, I said to the dude, look, this isn't really something I agree with, but, as long as you don't do anything that impedes my day-to-day work here in the building, we'll keep it cordial between us. And at one point, the landlord, I think, was trying to recover court costs, and that kind of pushed him over the edge, so he started calling the building department every time I needed to fix something or spruce up an apartment for an incoming tenant. So it was making my life difficult. He was having like HPD march through here and write up violations and all kinds of
HPD is
Housing Preservations Department. I was calling the DOB, which is the Department of Buildings, and they were coming through here, and
the tenant was calling?
Yeah, the tenant was doing this as sort of a vindictive retaliation for not paying his rent.
Are you kidding me?
No.
So he's not paying his rent, and then on top of it, he's trying to find violations within the building?
Yeah, to, sort of either just to make the landlord angry, or it was just vindictive, petty, childish stuff. And so it was really causing me some problems because there was an apartment that I was supposed to have finished for a tenant that needed to move in, and I was literally a day away from finishing it. He called the DOB. The guy came in. He was like, I'm really sorry. This is petty stuff, but, technically I have to shut this job down. You have to reapply for permits. And literally, cost thousands of dollars that didn't need to be spent. It delayed the tenant moving in for 6 weeks or something. So I started trying to goad him into punching me.
Literally try to get him to hit you.
In front of security cameras. I'd always get him over by the garage camera.
Right.
And I just, say the most vile things I could say to him. Just get up and literally nose to nose with him and say some really, really horrible things. And he never took the bait.
It's amazing.
But man, there were some really...
No, let me get this straight though. This guy, he didn't pay rent. And that to me, alone to me is just stunning. As an adult person in the world, I'm okay, I live here, I need to pay rent every month.
Yep.
And people just don't do it and don't feel I don't even know the wiring of that.
I don't get that either, because if I'm 2 weeks late on my rent, I'm so neurotic.
Exactly.
I'm oh my god, are they going to come for me? I'm a lowlife.
Exactly. That's how I think. And then no rent. And on top of that, I'm going to make your life difficult. I'm going to complain about things.
Yeah, he kind of broke a pact between us, so I was just doing my best to humiliate him and get him to throw the first punch so I could jump up and down on his pelvis or something.
I love it. and is this person no longer with us?
No, they're still here.
Oh my God!
It took me 10 years, but we sort of let bygones be bygones, and we're on speaking terms again.
And the rent is getting paid.
The rent is getting paid. I think he might have been backed up a couple months. The last slip I put under his door, but generally it's not.
I know.
Problem.
I didn't know that was an option. I think I was texted you the other day, like, I use it. Are we allowed to just not pay rent? Is that cool? And then you're like, no. You can't just not pay rent.
Yeah, you can't.
And not to mention our, the people who own the buildings could not be nicer people. I mean,
great
they're
just
guys. Just
like really some of the finest people. Definitely my favorite boss of all time.
Right? I mean, truly good people who,
just like literally like a good human being. And like to find a landlord who's like a decent human being in New York City,
very hard.
Forget it, man.
And I would argue same for the super.
I mean,
two for two. I got very lucky. I stumbled into this. I moved in. I don't know if you remember, but my friend was an actor as well, and he was moving to LA, and he was renting this place. And I remember he was moving out, and he's like, I got a space. You want it? And I was like, come check it out. I'll think about it. And he's like, I don't think about it. He's like, it'll be gone in a day. You don't.
Right.
This is a great place. It's a great neighborhood. Great everything. And it was like.
I remember him.
Yeah, Anthony was. And
Anthony was one of my like first like incidents.
Is that?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. What did Anthony do? Which, by the way, doesn't surprise me.
Anthony had a. Did he have a dachshund or something?
He had a dog of some sort,
right? So.
Did he
at one point, this was
throw
like he threw like dog crap out the window.
Out the window.
Yeah. I remember one day I was like walking around in the back of the building like cleaning up, and I was finding like all these like dookie bombs, and I was like, I just started like yelling like, "What the? Are you kidding me?" And like he must have heard me because all of a sudden like they were gone.
Is that right?
Yeah. No, I was like I was running around like just throwing a fit. At probably like 110 decibels. There was some weird stuff that happened right when I moved in. There was a woman and her partner in the workspace under my apartment that they must have told the landlord something other than what they were planning on doing, because they started moving in all this like heavy machinery into their space. And like literally like one day I came in and they had like 4 guys humping this like gigantic machine down into the basement. And I was like, what is that? And they're like, oh, that's a leather extruding, pressing. And I was like, what are you guys doing in here? They're like, oh, we're going to make shoes. And I'm like, you're going to make shoes under my apartment? So I didn't really know like what I was entitled to. I thought maybe the landlord knew about it, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, you can have like heavy industry under the super's apartment. I don't really care about him."
A sweat factory going on downstairs.
Man. Yeah, and like I started smelling like heavy, like volatile organic compounds on a regular basis, like nail polish remover times 10. So I went down and knocked on the door, and I was like, what are you guys doing down here? Oh, we're making shoes. I'm like, are you using some kind of like death glue or something? And they're like, yeah, you have to use this glue. And I was like, well, like I feel like I'm going to like pass out.
I'm getting nauseous in my apartment.
Like, this is not cool. So I said, can you guys not use like the toxic waste? And this is a residential building. And they were kind of like, okay. And then they kept doing it, and then, like, here's the thing about me. I'm, like, super nice. I'll tolerate maybe too much, and then, like, eventually if you, like, do something, I just go, like, bonkers.
Yeah, 2 to 10.
So, like, I went, like, I called the guy. I was like, dude, like, it stinks in my apartment. It smells like a gas station up here. And he just hung up on me. So, like, I just kind of, like, lost my composure and started, like, jumping up and down on the floor, screaming, I'm going to, like, freaking kill you. And then I went down and started, like, pounding on the door, like, you, blah, 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 I'm going to crush your freaking skull.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, dude, oh, man.
Is this why you have bongos?
Yeah, that's why I got the bongos, man. That's why I play the drums.
Mike has brought not only a dog but bongos to this session here, and I think I'm starting to learn that he needs both.
I need some outlets. I need some outlets, man. I don't know. Like you remember when the guy, like, there was a guy here who like went on like a massive like crack bender. You remember that?
I don't know. Is that no? I see, because I'm in and out so often.
Yeah, you're on the road a lot.
Yeah,
like, I had a dude here who just like completely like went off the rails and was like living on blow and vodka for a while.
Is that right?
Yeah, and he like started terrorizing everybody, coming home like 5 a.m, turning his stereo up to 11, and just like going like.
Which floor?
This was on the 4th floor.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, and I remember hearing about this guy. Yeah.
He's actually a good dude, and he got himself together, and
he's still here.
Kudos to him. He moved about a year and a half ago.
Okay. We've had some classics.
Yeah,
here,
but that dude, I was actually like walking around with like knife, like a can of mace.
Just wait.
And brass knuckles, because he was, saying that he was gonna like hurt me and things.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but me and him are cool now.
I would think legally there's got to be some sort of line, right? I mean, you can't just threaten someone.
No, but when you're like losing your mind and doped up, I don't think you're probably
speaking of
thinking about that much.
What is? It seems you guys have had to deal with a lot, and there are a lot of laws that seem, in our conversations over the years, to protect the tenant, right? I mean, to get rid of somebody is not an easy task.
Rent-stabilized people are impossible to get rid of.
We are in a rent-stabilized building, by the way, as Mike just said, and
not everybody's like you're stabilized, but it really depends on how many times the apartment is turned over.
Oh, is that right?
Because every time a new tenant comes in, the landlord's entitled to raise the rent 20%.
20%, wow!
And once it reaches a certain threshold, it's out of the stabilization program, and they can charge whatever they want.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that makes sense. But you've said a couple times, we've talked about various people who have been a bit of a pain, and it's not easy, even if they're not paying rent to get rid of them, right?
Right. I had to throw a naked dude out of the hallway a couple weeks ago.
That was not me.
No, I know, it wasn't you, man.
I've done a few things in my time here, but that was not me.
No, that's definitely not on your ledger. Literally, I got a call from a tenant. This was, I don't know, a couple months ago. Hey, man, you got to come over here. Some crazy stuff happening. I'm like, what? What's going on? He's like, there's a naked dude passed out in the hall. I'm like, are you kidding? Really?
I feel in a weird way like it's college. Like I feel like I live in a dorm room sometimes here, and I treat myself that way too. I feel like I call you like you're like the RA of the building.
I get that a lot.
I remember once there was some knuckleheads outside and on the front stoop, and they looked shady and it wasn't comfortable. And I texted you, and you're like, dude, call the cops. Like I'm not.
I must have had. The cops have been in this building since I've been here probably like 50 times.
Have they really?
There is some like weird juju in this place. And it's so different than the building next door.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like same owner, same configuration.
And for our listeners, Mike lives in the building next door. I live next to him, so we have 2 buildings side by side.
20 apartments, but that's like an alternate universe of like mostly like mellow, kind people.
Kind of adults, right?
Yeah, and there's one person I'd like to incinerate, but it's pretty good. There's like 6 people over here.
Now, this building was built in 1898.
Ow!
Hey, something like that.
Stop scratching me.
Did you get... Wow,
I just got scratched.
Wow, the dog attacks.
Chill.
So passive, and then all of a sudden, not getting enough attention, apparently.
Chill.
Our third guest has not said anything, but she's not getting enough attention.
She's lobbying to have her head scratched.
Lucy wants some attention.
All right, girl.
But so we're 100 and something years old.
Yep.
And one of the quirks of the building is there is the electricity.
It's archaic.
Will absolutely tap out if you try to do more than just. So you can basically do one thing that at a time that requires electricity, air conditioning or a microwave or a dryer or rather an iron or a hair dryer, but you can't do 2 at the same time.
There's definitely like a whole slew of fatal combinations.
Exactly.
Like, don't make toast and blow dry your hair at the same time. Don't turn on your microwave while your air conditioner's on.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You can have microwave popcorn or watch a movie, but you can't do both at the same time.
And it's unfortunate that they haven't upgraded that, but it's a massive undertaking. They literally have to rip open all the walls and run new wiring through everyone's apartments, and they'd have to literally tear up the ceilings and the walls. And,
it's a whole...
it'd be something that would need to happen when the building was empty.
Well, I would think, and would take some time.
Yeah.
Speaking of we just not long ago had all our gas lines replaced, right?
Yep.
And that was a several month process.
Yeah, that was 7 months of no cooking gas.
No cooking gas. But I never knew what happened. I was, you can't cook. I'm like, yep, that's it.
Yeah, well,
seamless delivery is
there
going
you
to
go.
be.
I mean, fortunately, we have that option here in New York City.
The beauty of New York is 24-hour delivery.
But yeah, the electrical, everybody's running on one 15-amp fuse, and the fuse boxes, as you know, are in the basement. So if you blow a fuse in the middle of the night, you have to put your jammies on and go downstairs. And
that was my first introduction to the building. I was living here maybe for a week before I did my first thing, and I went down and I royally screwed it up. I tried to replace my own. I messed it up, and that's why I have a special switch down there.
That's right. You got the special box.
that's how bad I was.
That's right. You broke it.
I did. I messed the entire thing up. I'm like, well, welcome to the building. This is going to make my presence known.
Man. Yeah, no, you're the one person who I think has an actual breaker box. Everybody else is on fuses.
Everyone else still has fuses. I have a little special box. That's how I introduced myself to the building.
I have to say, nicely played.
I thought I was going to get thrown out. I mean, literally, I was like, well, I've been here 4 days.
Oh,
and we also have, for our listeners who don't know this about me, my bathroom is in the hallway. I do not have a bathroom in my apartment.
That's true.
I guess the law at the time in 1890 or whenever the building was built that you had to have one bathroom for every 2 apartments. So in the middle of our building there are 2 bathrooms, and then there are 4 apartments per floor. And sure enough, I'm in the back, so it's my own. They've since installed bathrooms in the front 2 apartments, so I have my own bathroom. But it's like a gas station. You got to take a key and walk down the hall. And when I moved in, Anthony, who I took the apartment over, he told me like, oh, actually, it seems weird, but women love it because they have some privacy, which I thought was an interesting. I've learned that not to be the case.
Yeah.
At 2 in the morning, when a woman has to get dressed and walk out into the hallway to go to the bathroom, not such a fan.
No, that's not a selling point. You wouldn't want to put that on your OkCupid profile.
Not at all. But I have found that it makes being on the road more tolerable. Like I'm in a hotel room on the road, and there's a bathroom in the hotel, and this is great. This is very convenient.
Yeah, the modern conveniences.
I don't have to get dressed to go to the bathroom. Well, from here, what do you see happening? We're talking about a building now that's over 100 years old, and is it a landmark? Is it a historical building?
We're in a landmark district, so anything you endeavor to do to the facade has to either be done, like it has to be something really minor that's not going to register with those folk.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or you have to file all these permits and blah blah blah. And
I was gonna say because I remember I was in Nantucket or Cape Cod. One of these places you see there's only certain colors you can paint a place. Is that the law here too?
I don't know what the law is as it pertains to color, but you can't change cosmetic or structural stuff without approval.
Okay.
You can't just sort of tear the facade off and put some glass and steel on it or something.
And then, as you say, I mean, it's in between the electric and gas, all this stuff. I mean, you basically have to knock a building down to do something with it. And that would be, I assume, the next step at some point in the future. Maybe years from now, you and I are not here anymore, but I would think, right? I mean, that's eventually you just knock a building down and build a nice new condo, right?
I'm pretty sure at some point this building is no longer going to be a viable structure.
I would think.
And they'll have to, either gut renovate it or just raise it.
Yeah.
They raised that whole huge lot on the corner of Perry Street.
No. Oh, yeah. No, yes.
That's the one where the billionaire Steve Cohen is going to build Xanadu and Xanadu Light for his kids.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right around the corner?
Yeah, that giant lot there. That's going to be a single owner lot.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think it's a dude named Steve Cohen, and
wow.
Yeah, it looks like a fortress. And then there's this other building next to that, which is going to be just for the kids. Are you going to have their own building?
Kidding me?
No.
You think we can get adopted?
Seriously. I mean, that guy is already on my bad side because I got a little man cave in the basement next door. And the entire time I've been here, I've never had a water issue. But because that lot is empty now and it's just all this sandy, porous soil because of those monsoon rains we had last weekend.
Right.
All of a sudden, my walls started oozing.
Are you serious?
Right behind my stereo. So I had to deconstruct the entire man cave.
Are you kidding me?
Nah, man. So Steve Cohen.
That's affecting. From wow.
Steve Cohen owes me some man cave renovations.
I was gonna say you got to get on your own little Xanadu.
I'm calling you out, man.
You know, well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Greetings from Somerville. I think that's the name. Is that the name of my podcast?
That's a nice ring.
I think that's what I named it. Yes,
just for today, even.
I cannot thank you so much, man, for joining us.
Me.
Absolutely.
There's plenty more to tell, but that'll suffice for now.
Yeah, well, we'll have to do a follow-up episode.
Yeah, part 2.
Yeah, tune in, everybody. Hey, listen, you got to follow us on iTunes and like and share and give us 5 stars because we deserve it. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.